Welcome, my friends, Skull Army, Boom Community, to the March update, Whatever Happened to Captain Ruddero. And I'll tell you what, I will tell you what happened to him, but shortly. And this update will bring gameplay changes and a long-awaited rework of the Cycle of Evil, primarily focusing on Dr. Terror, Dr. Evil, I'm kidding, Dr. T. No love for Hammerman or Gearheart yet, but I'm sure that's coming very shortly in the future. This is going to be a very exciting update. This is a huge update, okay? Let's just get this out of the way now. This is a huge freaking update and a big offensive-orientated, focused update as well. A lot of focus on offense as the last previous updates has been as well. So yeah, it's going to be a great day in Boom Beach when we get like a purely focused defensive update. But this update solely focused on offense, whatever happened to Captain Ruddero, and along with finding out what happened to Captain Ruddero, we're going to find out where to get him, and we're also going to be breaking down all his stats as well. On top of that, this banger of a video will be consisting of not one, not two, we're not stopping at 3. We're going to raise it to 4, and we're going to finish at 4.5 pages of bullet notes, patch notes, everything you need to know about the upcoming March update coming to Boom Beach, which should be dropping sometime next week with the primary focus being on what happened to Captain Ruddero, not to mention bug fixes, okay? We've got improvements, UI fixes, the feature change, which will be breaking down the scaling of Dr. T Island changes, a new concept threat, not to mention rotation of the threats, new leaderboard breakdowns as well, not to mention the new feature, Commander's Crash Course and Training Grounds. Now, this will be a new feature to pretty much get new players up and going to HQ5 as soon as possible, not to mention the new reinforcements, that's right, Rocket Choppas are coming to Main Island, and of course the breakdown with everything you need to know about Rudy coming to the Main Island. Skull Army, Boom Community. Before we begin this absolute madness, this absolute breakdown, please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you are digging Boom Beach content, and let's get ready to roll intro and get this party started. Let's do this. Good morning, good afternoon, and yes, good evening, Skull Army and friends. It's your boy, your friendly neighborhood SkullCrusher, coming right back at you with another Boom Beach video. In today's video, the March update, whatever happened to Captain Ruddero, full breakdown and explanation, sneak peek, everything you need to know about this upcoming update. And for once, not a disclaimer, because I am not currently on the developer build account. I am actually on my main account, SkullCrusher, on the main server here. Long story short, I was having dev build issues. Nunu is currently unavailable. I am unable to get my hands on a new dev build at the moment, which will get sorted out very soon. So yes, guys, I'm going to be entertaining you with just pure spitting facts only here. So yeah, no gameplay to show anything, but don't forget to check out the other BoomTuber sneak peeks if you do want to check out the gameplay of all this madness coming to Boom Beach. So this will be timestamped as well, so if you are just desperately feeling, you want to know what's going on with Dr. T and the scaling changes, jump to here. If you want to go right to Rocket Choppas, you can jump to here. If you want to get right to the meat and potatoes, Rudy will be right here. So all chapters, everything will be timestamped and broken down. And without further ado, let's begin this madness with the bug fixes coming in the March update, whatever happened to Captain Ruddero. Bug fixes. Battle correctly ends if the player has undeployed troops if there is no GBE to deploy them. Attack plans can be used to speed up mine upgrades. Removed music fade out when opening the map. Fixed UI issue that showed HP boost affecting shield amounts. Fixed UI issue for explosive drones not showing damage per second instead of damage per shot. Added a screen darkener to reroll mission pop-up in Boom Pass screen to prevent crash that happens due to pressing multiple buttons at once. All units have once again gone through how to follow flare training. I love the satire. I love the irony in that one right there. So there's been a few instances where, Rocket Choppers, even Brick, where, the flare would be in the air, and if battle orders was activated, she would actively ignore the flare. So what Boom Beach is saying is that all troops, all heroes, everybody has gone through proper, let's go through this one more time, proper how to follow flare training. So if you do notice any of your troops not following flares after this update, we're going to have a big problem and somebody needs to be fired. I'm kidding. Let me or any of the other BoomTubers know, and we'll be sure to pass that info off to the devs here. Continuing, and the only love for warships? Shield generators will be correctly destroyed when engine room shields are depleted instead of getting set at a very low HP. Moving into the improvements, SEMO has received a targeting upgrade which allows it to target troops with stealth. Improved Boom Pass UI error display when the player can't see the reward track due to connection issues. Added a timer to the base showing remaining dive time for the submarine. Reinforce all troops button is now available from HQ1. Previously, the Reinforce All Troops button did not appear if the player had a new landing craft that had never had troops assigned. The button should now be visible in all situations. 3 times Fast Forward button in battle is now available from HQ1. To improve low-level gameplay, heavy units have a scaling training time based on level. And here is a breakdown of those heavy stats based on your player level or your HQ level. Moving into UI improvements, buttons previously shown on the left edge of the screen have been moved to a collapsing panel, accessible by tapping the player level indicator in the upper left corner. This panel also contains the Path of Glory and Building Suggester buttons. The helper icon remains on the screen, but now only opens the standing orders list. Feature change. The new improvements and changes coming to Dr. T, the scaling Dr. T Island challenges. So the breakdown goes like this. Dr. T's Island challenges now scale accordingly to player progress. Completing the bases increases the challenge. This increase is unlimited, and the toughest players can compete for the top spots on the new leaderboards. More on the leaderboards in just a moment. Now moving into the new concept, threat. So let's break down what threat will be with corresponding to the scaling of Dr. T. Threat is a new concept used to indicate the difficulty of a challenge base. Each base in Volcano and Tropical challenges has a threat rating, with higher threat indicating a more difficult base. Threat 1 is roughly meant to be a challenge for an HQ5 base, and each increase in threat corresponds to 1 HQ level. Threat 23 would correspond to a challenge for HQ 27. When the event first starts after the update, each player is assigned an initial permanent threat rating. Players with HQs 5 through 11 will be assigned a permanent threat of 1. Higher HQs will have a permanent threat of HQ level -10. Tropical and Volcano events have their separate permanent threats. Now going into the rotation. Each time the event starts, each player can still beat 7 bases. The first base will have a threat level equal to the player's permanent threat. Each successive base will increase threat by 1. If the player beats all bases, their permanent threat is increased by 1. Thus, next time the event starts, the bases will be harder. The rewards gained from bases will be correspondingly greater. There is no limit on how high a base threat can go, but the rewards stop increasing after threat 26. Breaking down the new leaderboards to correspond with the new scaling of Dr. T and, of course, the threat. Both events have their own leaderboard. A player's position on the leaderboard is determined by the base with the highest threat they have defeated. To resolve ties, a destruction percentage is calculated from the following base. Since the rewards stop increasing after threat 26, some players might prefer not having the challenge continually increase, instead focusing on gaining maximum resources. Once these players achieve permanent threat 27, there will be an option in the leaderboard menu to downgrade their threat. Now, be careful, this downgrade can be selected even if some bases have already been defeated. Downgrading sets the player's permanent threat to 26 for the day and adjusts the available bases accordingly. Once selected, downgrading cannot be reversed for the day. If downgrading is selected, beating all bases will not increase the permanent threat. Moving into the new feature, Commander's Crash Course and Training Grounds. Now, this will have to deal with primarily and focus with newer players coming with Boom Beach to pretty much expedite their starting process and get them to HQ5 as soon as possible. 2 new features have been added to ease new players into Boom Beach. Number 1, Commander's Crash Course teaches the basics of base management and map exploration, while Training Grounds focuses on the finer arts of combined arms amphibious assaults, also known as battles. The Crash Course is available straight after the tutorial and consists of 4 sets of missions designed to rapidly get the player up to HQ5. Completing the Crash Course unlocks the seasonal campaign. If not completed, Crash Course is removed at HQ7. Training Grounds is a set of battles designed to teach unit selection and handling gunboat ability use. These battles use the player's ready troops instead of normal rewards. Victory is rewarded with gold and time savers. And I think this is an awesome option right here to give newer players starting the game time savers at a much earlier start in the game. So start hoarding, start stockpiling, start getting those time savers now, and this is a great incentive to do that. Training Grounds remains available until it is completed. New reinforcements. So moving into the Rocket Choppers and the introduction of the Rocket Choppers coming to Main Island permanently. Rocket Choppers will be available starting from HQ 23. The choppers start at level 1 and can be upgraded to the player's armory level. These new units, of course, need someone to lead them. Now, starting at HQ 24, players can now find clues while fighting on the map. Following the path leads to a final battle and the release of a certain mustachioed gentleman. That's right, Captain Ruddero is finally joining the main base. Rudy! Let's go, baby! We put him in the game for one play and he made a tackle. Rudy! So I do have to point out that, once again, heavily focused on offense. And this part of the update heavily focused and actually rewarding max level players. This is something that max level players have been asking for a very long time. Give us Rudy on Main Island and give us Rocket Choppers on Main Island. And guess what? We have asked, and Supercell is delivering. So big shout out to not only the Boom Beach community, but of course, Nunu, the community manager, and of course the developers that do actually listen to the community and implement changes when they do feel it is right or necessary. And honestly, getting Captain Rudy and Rocket Choppers on Main Island now, after testing Rudy in warships for, 3 or 4 seasons, having Rocket Choppers in warships for tens and tens and tens of seasons, it's about time, and yes, it feels right to finally get them on Main Island. So this is a beautiful addition to Boom Beach, and also it gives my newer players that are just starting off something to look forward to once they get to HQ 23 and 24, because you now have the best things to look forward to pretty much at the end of your progression. Rocket Choppers and Captain Ruddero. Captain Ruddero is a flying hero with defensive drones, wingmen. They're practically flying critters. They are critters in the sky. And a missile barrage attack. The wingmen are spawned in pairs of 2 every 5 seconds up to a maximum of 6. They circle around him and have short-ranged attack. Number 1. Rudy's first ability is Wingman Rush. He sends his current wingman forward and quickly summons a new set. This ability can be used to add targets to draw fire or to quickly replenish the wingmen. Leveling up this ability also levels up the wingmen. Bombing Run. Bombing Run allows Rudy to pick a building as a target and then quickly dash to it and back, dropping cluster bombs along the way. Now, since this is a pretty risky maneuver, he gains a shield when the ability is activated. Rudy's third ability, Seeker Shot, allows him to deploy 4 Seekers on the ground. These Seekers cannot be healed and do not follow flares. Instead, they head directly to the HQ and attack it to the exclusion of everything else. Leveling this skill increases the level of the Seekers. So it's not getting Seekers as a troop on Main Island, but we will be seeing Seekers on Main Island for the very first time, with Captain Ruddero being introduced to the Main Island for the very first time, and Seeker Shot being a hero ability that deploys Seekers on the Main Island. So, not how I expected us to get Seekers on the Main Island, or maybe this is exactly how we expected to get Seekers on the Main Island. Maybe a little, test course training grounds before we maybe see Seekers on Main Island. Are you kidding me? Seekers on Main Island would just absolutely break the game and turn it upside down. So maybe that's exactly what we need. One day, but today is not that day. So a huge update, Boom Community, Skull Army, with big focus on offense, the rescaling of Dr. T, introduction of the threat, the rotation, of course, as well, not to mention the training grounds, and of course the new expediting process that we do have for newer players starting Boom Beach, getting them to HQ level 5, getting them to the seasonal campaign as soon as possible. I don't know, it's almost like Boom Beach wants them to buy the Boom Pass as soon as possible. I kid. Don't forget to use code SkullCrusher. But with that being said, so much excitement around the Rocket Choppers and, of course, Captain Ruddero. So Skull Army and friends, if you have made it this far into the sneak peek video for the March update, whatever happened to Captain Ruddero, please do not forget to leave a like on today's video. It does mean the absolute world to me, does help the channel grow, and yes, of course, it does appease our YouTube algorithm overlords. Don't forget to leave a comment as well. Let me know what you are most looking forward to, or if you think there's too much offense, and god darn it, we need some defense. So with all that being said, my friends, we will officially be wrapping up today's sneak peek video. I do believe it's now time to make like a Tom and cruise. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!